Hi, everybody, and welcome to I Like Cruise Ships, the YouTube channel, and welcome to a new live stream, and welcome to our kind of regular Sunday live stream now. I managed to actually schedule this one a little bit earlier today. I've kind of timed it nicely with the time on the East Coast of the US, I guess West Coast as well, which is pretty much about 80% of viewers to the channel. Based on the analytics that YouTube put out, it gives you the numbers and where everybody's from in the world, and it's pretty much 80% US watchers, or I guess, or viewers, whatever you call that, watchers or viewers, and then it sort of just sprinkles about between Canada, UK, Australia after that. So yeah, welcome everybody to the live stream. Now, I was going to talk kind of, as you can see in the title of the video, about cruising in Europe at the moment, or in the kind of coming few months, I guess, for the European season. But actually, the one more important thing, I guess, for cruising in the Caribbean is the Cayman government's put out a press release talking about cruise ships returning to Grand Cayman. Now, I did kind of tease this last week in one of the cruise news videos that I did. They're actually going to put out another press release. They love putting out press releases. They're going to put out another press release this week coming, going into more detail about what's going to be happening. And we're going to just talk about that in a little while in regards to what entails in the press release. It's quite deep. And there's a few specific lines in it that may get a little bit confusing for people. So I'm not sure if I might make a separate video entirely about it. I think it may be worth doing that. Richard, how are we going? Richard Lineker, Linker, I guess. I'm going to say Lineker. Gary Lineker is a famous British footballer. That's why I kind of put the reference of Lineker and Linker. Sorry, Richard. So how's it going? Good to see you on the stream. Anya is here. Hey, hello, Russell. How is the situation in Russia right now? Stay safe, brother. Yes. So if anyone isn't aware, I'm streaming from my kitchen here in Moscow, Russia. I actually don't live in Moscow center. I live by car about a 45-minute drive from the center of Moscow. The Moscow region and then Moscow center is quite a big area. It covers, kind of quite a vast distance. So I say Moscow, but actually technically the address is Moscow region. So yeah, I am here. Everything's very quiet here and very normal. There is absolutely no difference. If I was to go to my local town right where I live here, I can literally see it out the window. We live on the 10th floor with our windows looking right in over town, I guess, or the suburb. And then basically going into town here or to the shops by the train station. A lot of towns in Moscow or in Russia tend to center around the train stations. So yeah, if I go to the local kind of shops there's pretty much zero difference in what's happening. People are just doing their thing, normal day-to-day thing. I did go to Moscow center not yesterday, the day before. I didn't go out yesterday. The day before, and pretty much the only difference I really truly saw was probably if I could at the metro stations or the subways. I guess we'll call them subways. Metro stations is what they call them here in Russia. Then there was probably a little bit more police around, but not really any difference, really and truly. There is. I spoke to my mum today, and she just talked about that she saw on the news protesting in Russia. There is protesting in a few different cities in St. Petersburg, here in Moscow. That's pretty much isolated to one kind of square or kind of small park area called Pushkin Square. And there's obviously a big police presence right there for that. So you have to kind of register to do a kind of protest here, like in a lot of countries. I know in Australia too, you can basically ask the police that you want to do a protest. You can do that here as well, but you've got to do it like for 10 to 14 days in advance. There's kind of crazy rules about it. Funny enough, you can actually be a single protester in Russia, where you can be a single one person protesting. And obviously, if everyone gets together and it's two or more, it's not right. So yeah, that's kind of out the window. So yeah, for me, everything is very much the same. I mean, I do pay a lot of attention when I'm out and about in Moscow. When I was there the other day, I went kind of quite across town. I was actually in Red Square area. I went to one shopping center, and I mean, apart from a few more police here and there, you know what I mean, like the patrols and the cars parked up, it was pretty much business as usual. So yeah. Now, okay, so the main title of this video or this live stream was going to talk about cruising in Europe. So obviously, ships do sail the Baltic. It's called the Baltic capitals or the Baltic region. And obviously, St. Petersburg is one of the stops that are very predominant on those itineraries. And effectively, every cruise line in the industry has kind of put out some sort of a press release or a tweet. I'm just going to pull up here the one that was from Carnival Corporation, which owns obviously quite a few different cruise lines. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. So this is actually from Twitter from, I guess, yesterday now. So in light of the recent attacks by Russia in Ukraine, Carnival Corporation's brands will be modifying our itineraries in the coming weeks once alternative ports can be confirmed. So that's basically from Carnival Corporation. Fairly well, every major cruise line has done the same thing. There was quite a bit of flack across Twitter. I can't get away from pretty much every post on Twitter being something kind of related to what's going on, and I'm not here to kind of talk about that really. Daralia, how's it going? Good to see you on the stream. Not so many of us here today, so I'm just going to basically plod along, and if we get some comments here and there, I'll sort of talk back and forward. So yeah, thanks for joining the stream today or tonight. I'm not sure how long I'll end up going for, but so yeah, pretty much every cruise line, obviously on the news, it's kind of gone absolutely kind of bonkers with, you know, restricting airspace and, you know, canceling flights to and from different areas in Europe. All kind of sporting teams have kind of gone to town with kind of canceling any kind of sports events in Russia. So yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of people who book cruises to do the St. Petersburg itinerary. And particularly a lot of the ships that go there tend to do an overnight stay. They tend to do a 2-night stay. And, you know, I mean, it's a kind of a bucket list kind of stop for a lot of people because they know they probably wouldn't necessarily travel to Russia, or to Moscow or Sochi or St. Petersburg on a kind of a week holiday or a 2-week holiday. So pretty much doing it by cruise ship is kind of the easy way to get there. You know, I mean, especially with an overnight 2-day stop, you can kind of do multiple tours or excursions kind of during the cruise. So yeah, pretty much, I mean, cruise lines aren't canceling their Baltic itineraries as I'll sort of pull up the one where Mickey Arrison's got it here. I think, has he got it just further down? Yeah, this is the one that he basically retweeted himself. So they're saying that they will modify our itineraries in coming weeks once alternative ports can be confirmed. So where basically they delete a couple of days of an itinerary. They'll see if they can find an alternative port or stay an extra day in port somewhere. You'll see a little bit further down here, you know, this was a bucket list cruise because of St. Petersburg. Glad you've canceled the stops, but hope there will be no penalty cancellation charges. So yeah, it's in addition to the new ports, I hope you're offered a full refund or no penalty move. Yeah, this is the thing. There's obviously the minute kind of cruise lines cancel itineraries, there's obviously positive and negative feedback or sometimes even backlash to cruise ships canceling a port. where things are kind of beyond the control of the cruise lines, obviously, as a kind of bigger stance of everybody. I'll just sort of scroll away from anything that's coming up here. Okay, so I'm back. I hope everybody didn't leave or jump ship, I guess, so to speak. I was kind of expecting that to happen, and unfortunately it did. So that was my worst kind of fear come true. So I'm sorry if anybody was here and left or so on. Darrell, I'm back again. Yes. Sorry about that. Thanks for sticking with me if you're currently here. Um, Norwegian Getaway getting ready to go under the... Oh, you're in New York. You're on the ship. Wow. That's crazy. Ready to go under the Verrazano Bridge. Wow. How have you got better internet than I have? That's insane. There you are right there. Just sailing out of New York now. That's crazy, crazy. Anthem of the Seas is over in Red Hook, Brooklyn. And the Getaway's just going by Lower Manhattan. So I guess, no, I'm not on the ship. I'm watching it live. Oh, okay. I'm like, wow, you're on the ship. How are you getting better internet than I am? That would be crazy to think. Uh, just let me know how the audio, we reckon that use an audio stream. I've got good audio. What's going on? It says my audio has gone a little bit cuckoo. Anthem of the Seas is in Cape Liberty, New Jersey. Yeah, isn't it? Oh, Red Hook, Brooklyn is where the Carnival Corporation ships go from, like Cunard, and then Cape Liberty is it? I guess it's Cape Liberty, New Jersey. Isn't it Bayonne, New Jersey? I guess they call it Cape Liberty. Over here, sorry. yeah, I guess there's a live camera somewhere that you can watch it from. I'm not on the ship. I'm watching it live. I guess maybe from the bow cam of the ship, or I wonder from where you're catching it from. Yeah, so nice. Yeah, it's a pretty cool view to go under the Verrazano Bridge, for sure. Yeah, it went dead for a minute. Yeah, Cape Liberty's Royal Caribbean. Yeah, you've got yeah, you're well ahead of me. Yeah, there's kind of the live stream from the YouTube studio is a little bit behind the StreamYard here, so sorry about that, everybody. If you're watching, yeah, there we go. That's the live there. I was going to bring up the Miami one. Everywhere I go is like something I don't really want to watch. I don't want to make anything that I'm doing, let's say the words political. That makes sense. Some people are kind of very put off by it. Some people are going crazy watching it, particularly I watch a lot of YouTube, so I don't really watch very much normal television. You call it normal television. So that's the live cam of Miami Harbor right there. I don't really want to focus on it too much today, but we'll kind of have it up in the background there. So yeah, Norwegian Getaways steaming out of New York there. It's a little bit behind there. It's kind of, does it say how fast it's going? 14 knots. Or destination Port Canaveral. Oh, that's a bit of a sailing. That's about 2 sea days, right? March the 1st. So Monday tomorrow is. So yeah, I'm already past midnight here. So it's Sunday. So I guess it's 2 sea days to get down there to Port Canaveral. Yeah, so is it showing the full itinerary there for the getaway, I guess? Or is it going to Port Canaveral and then I guess maybe Nassau and then the private island? Is that? Yeah, Nassau and private island. You can see here, it's kind of interesting how close the Royal Caribbean private island is, Coco Cay, to, they call it, if you work on the cruise ship for NCL, they call it GSC, Great Stirrup Key, okay. Yeah, the live webcam is from the Chart House Seafood Restaurant in, well, Weehawken, New Jersey. Well, that's kind of cool. Chart House Seafood Restaurant. I wonder if there's only one of them in the world. I'm sure. New Jersey. J-E-R. New Jersey. I'm sure there's only one of them that has a website. Does it? Yeah, there we go. Let's see if we can pull it up, shall we? We can have a little bit of fun with this. Do they have the webcam on there? Get directions menu. Da 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 da. Want some of the food though. Dr. Dine. Is that the price? Is like $35 for swordfish, sea bass, Baja shrimp. I want some Baja shrimp. Land and sea. Man, this is making me hungry. Come on. Lava cake. Yeah, it doesn't show there, so I wonder. Let me just go back to that and then put in their webcam. I wonder if they've got it as a link. Port New York webcam. Yeah, this is what happened with the last web live stream. Oh, yeah. So I won't bring that up because I was basically having some problems with doing the one there with these guys. So there is also another Charthouse restaurant in Atlantic City. Yeah, actually, funny enough, in Australia, in my suburb or in Rockingham, where I was living before I came over to Russia, my sister's husband grew up on Charthouse Way. and that's the kind of street that he grew up on, and where my sister obviously met him and married, and so on down the track. But yeah, so a little bit of a reference to Charthouse. But that looks like a nice restaurant. So yeah, let's get on to this Grand Cayman news, shall we? So this is actually the Cayman Island government's website. Yeah, PTZ TV. Yeah, these are when I did the Wonder of the Seas, I kind of did the live stream of the Wonder of the Seas, just talking about it coming in, and then I was hoping to use the YouTube live stream camera. Then it ended up being this PTZ one. And then it ended up that they basically put in a complaint against the post that I did, or the live stream that I did, because I used some of their photographs from it. So, but I did give them acknowledgement in the video multiple times. So I guess they just didn't like it. I'm not too sure. Maybe somebody watched it, or I guess because it's kind of a private web page, and obviously they want traffic to their website, and I was third party streaming it. So so basically the Cayman Islands, obviously, if anyone isn't aware, or you are aware, for the last 2 years I've had the surf and turf at the Charthouse in Weehawken, and delicious lobster tails and steaks. Yeah, actually the last probably lobster I had was on the cruise ships. In Australia, we pretty much have a lot of fish and chips. That's obviously very English, but didn't have any lobster. We have a crayfish in Australia, kind of very similar to lobster. But yeah, we had a lot of fish and chips. So basically, like battered fish with either, you can have it either grilled or battered. Fish and chips is very common in Australia, kind of a easy takeaway meal. So you basically either order it as a fish and chip meal, or you get certain fish, and then you get a minimum amount of chips. So you sort of say you want $2 or $4 or $5 of chips, and they always give you tons of chips when you have, like a fish and chips. So yeah, surf and turf. Oh, now I'm really hungry. I've got actually when my wife came home for work, I've watched 3 movies today, by the way. Just talking about what I've been doing today. Didn't Carnival used to have a live webcam on the ships? They did, yes, Daryl. They did, but they've kind of got them all disabled now across their whole fleet at the moment. They've kind of been disabled for quite a while. Like, I don't know if it's the whole 2 years of the COVID thing going on, but yeah, you can't pull any of them up that I've tried to. I think the last stream and the one before I tried to, and it wouldn't sort of pull up at all. So, yeah. So over here on the government, it's gov.ky. This is their government website, I guess, and they've got a live stream there as well. I wonder if that's a camera. Oh, it's not available. That was not handy. I just saw that earlier. I didn't click it. So, yeah, they've got basically press releases here. And the one that was put out effectively yesterday, I don't know when, I guess it would have been Friday. Now it's Sunday here going into Monday. And the kind of breaking news, I guess you could call it. This is the tourism minister right here. Is that cruise ships or Grand Cayman prepares to welcome cruise ships back to Grand Cayman. Yeah, so it's a very sort of long. Well, it's a fairly long press release that they've put out, but they're projecting the return to Grand Cayman cruise ships from the 21st of March, which would be obviously just over 3 weeks from now. They're expecting to accept ships from the 21st of March onwards. Yeah, I wonder why that. Yeah, just talking about the Carnival webcams, why they've disabled them. I imagine it's down to the excuse me, it's probably down to the bandwidth of their internet. I think that's probably the easy cop out kind of answer to it. If you want me to kind of give you the blunt, probably reason why, that they probably take up too much of the internet bandwidth by live streaming. I think they pretty much had two cameras, didn't they? One on the bow, one on the main Lido pool. And they're actually the same cameras that you can watch from the cabin televisions. Actually, that was quite often our channel when we went to sleep at night. And it's actually a bit of a trick for inside cabins too, that you put the bridge cam on as a TV channel. Ooh, I'm trying to hide and not unhide. Put the bridge camera on when you go to sleep at night, because obviously it's a black screen or a dark screen. And then when it becomes light in the morning, obviously it brightens up the room. So you know it's kind of daytime or morning time when that camera kind of comes back on, if that makes sense, in the room. So yeah, good tip for you for your next cruise if you've got an inside cabin, anybody who's watching. Yeah, there's 4 people watching, by the way. So if you are more than welcome just to put any kind of comment. Just let me know how the sound is as well. Obviously, this is a brand new microphone. I'll talk about it, I think, in every stream for the rest of my life, because I kind of look and stare at it every day. It's on a boom arm right here. And, it's kind of amazing to think, I mean, if you look at 5 or 10 years ago, I mean, the average person who had a computer would not have had a microphone and boom arm set up. I mean, this is I guess maybe the early days of the internet, people had this sort of thing. But it's now commonplace, especially video game streamers that have a microphone. So yeah, I kind of stare at it every day of the week that I'm looking at this here. So yeah, so just looking here, so 21st of March, 2022, pending formal cabinet approval and regulatory amendments. So it's basically they're teasing it again that the opening should go ahead on the 21st of March. So after a two-year hiatus, the return of cruise passengers to the Cayman Islands will be a move welcomed by displaced employees and industry stakeholders, and represents the achievement of another significant milestone in the recovery of the Cayman Islands tourism industry. Yeah, that's kind of the key right there. According to the Minister of Tourism, it doesn't say his name here, doesn't it, somewhere? The resumption of cruise tourism will follow a phased approach similar to the process adopted for the introduction of stayover air arrivals. Phase 1 is slated to continue for a period of 4 weeks to allow significant time for safety protocols to be evaluated and to identify what, if any, adjustments might need to be made. So basically, they're going to do a 4-week kind of trial run of the protocols they're going to put in place, see how it is after the 4 weeks, and then they'll kind of reassess it, I guess, and then sort of move forward with whatever extra rules. So this is the bit here where it was a little bit confused in some other people's conversation about this in the last day or two. So according to phase 1, cruise passenger arrivals will be limited to 40% of previous passenger volumes. This equates to a maximum of 75,000 passengers during this period. Following the successful completion of phase 1 and subject to approvals, the 40% capacity constraint will be removed. However, effective public health protocols within will be managed, integrating the lessons learned during phase 1. So Daryl says that the sound is very good. Yes, I love it. Actually, I did a video call with my mum today, just talking about this, and I did the same setup using basically just Facebook Messenger to do a call with her. And even she was like, "Oh, the sound's very good." Oh, thanks, Mum. She's normally using her tablet, and she leans it kind of forward on her lap when she's talking to me. So the camera is always like crazy kind of angled. So basically, the arrivals will be limited to 40% of previous passenger volumes. So they have a per week cap on how many people can enter the Cayman Islands. And they're basically, whatever that cap was, they want 40% of the cap. So they're saying there that it's 75,000 passengers during this period. So that's 75,000, I imagine, over the 4 weeks. So what's that? 40. So what's that? 17,500 per week. So they only have ships Monday to Friday there. They don't have any weekend ships. Very typically, because a lot of ships tend to be 7-day itineraries that go to Cayman, it tends to be kind of a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday visit for most ships. So they don't have ships every day of the week. So 17,500 people per week. So that's not a lot if you consider, I mean, of course, ships are at reduced capacity now. So if you consider ships with maybe 2,000 people on, so a couple of ships per day with 2,000 people on it, it's not a lot of ships coming based on what they previously had. You can have 3 or 4 or 5 ships in a day in Cayman on some of their visits. Even at capacity, that would be staggering kind of numbers, especially for small islands. It's just huge numbers. So it's 40% of previous passenger volumes. Following the successful completion of phase 1, the 40% capacity constraint will be removed. However, effective public health protocols will be maintained, integrating the lessons from phase 1. So after the first 4 weeks, they'll reassess how it is, and then they'll look to basically remove the cap, or basically maybe increase the cap, I guess depending on how they're looking at it. Kenneth Bryan, Minister of Tourism, was recently hosting senior executives from the Florida Caribbean Cruise Association for high-level cruise talks. High-level talks. Not sure what factors in high-level talks versus just normal talks. So in the Cayman Islands, stating that the PACT administration does take the decision to reintroduce cruise tourism. It doesn't take it lightly. So they don't, they weren't just going to up and to say, okay, ships can come tomorrow, no worries at all. The fact remains that while the pandemic persists, all travel, whether by air or sea, presents a certain degree of risk. However, we are seeing with stayover arrivals, our island's high vaccinated rate, coupled with having the right safety protocols in place, is allowing our tourism industry to recover. So that sort of makes kind of good sense. What I'm going to do just for a second is I'm going to bring up Facebook here. I'm just going to share this chat into Facebook just for a bit of fun. Hopefully we'll get a few more people over here. And we'll actually be able to see, thanks to this live stream, I'm pretty sure Broadwave are okay with this because they have in the past. The Carnival Horizon just pulling out from the port right now. There's kind of boats going all over the place. So part of the reason why I wanted to come on at 11:45, or for my time, 11:45, that was 3:45 or 3:45, which was their scheduled departure time. So they're going to come up here to the basin and turn around and then sail off. So they're off on their way for their next cruise, I guess. Let me just post this over here. Cruise chat and some fun. Are we having fun, I guess? I think so. Let's post that. Join me live now for some cruise chat and fun. I won't put some twice. Yeah, maybe we'll get a few more people over here. Not now. Let's just click not now. So yeah, it's very interesting, this reintroduction of cruise ships to Cayman. And obviously they're taking a bit of a precautionary approach to it. Obviously all other ports of call have let ships arrive, I guess, regardless of the passenger numbers. And it's never been a kind of factor in how many people can arrive, if that makes sense. I think Belize was the only place. I guess now they've got Harvest Caye, which is where the NCL ships go to. They had a daily cap on the amount of people coming into Belize, but that's purely because of the tendering or the boats that go back and forward. They had a limited number of boats they could use. Daryl says the cruise that I cancelled in January was supposed to go to Grand Cayman. Before the cruise, they replaced it with Nassau, and you ended up cancelling. Yeah, that's pretty much, even right now, even up to the Carnival ships, even the Horizon there that I was working on previously and probably going back to, only roughly a week or 2 weeks before have the cruise lines been canceling that kind of ultimate itinerary and then revising it. So it was going to Cayman, Cozumel, Jamaica on the 6th day, and then they're now going to La Romana, Dominican Republic, and then the private island and Grand Turk. So, and a lot of people obviously had their heart on sort of the other itineraries. So people cancel, people didn't cancel. But Carnival, I guess from their point of view, they were kind of holding out until they could hear what Cayman was making the decision on. And obviously they kind of waited and waited and waited, and now they've kind of teased it again. So I guess for March, cruises 21st of March onwards, then we'll be kind of good to go, I guess. Are you? Do you have to take? Do you have to tender in Grand Cayman? Yes, you do. Yeah, that's pretty much a given. I might actually pull up a photo for you here if I've got one. I think I've even got the page open. I'm not sure. This is actually some of my own photos of Grand Cayman. We'll just sort of flick through these. How do we flick through them? You just arrow, don't you? Oh, you got to go back. So this is actually the Horizon here, basically tendering. Looks a lot further away here, but the town's just off to the left. And you can see these tender boats. I basically get off the ship quite often and just walk down to the kind of public beaches, but they're basically where there's a lot of condos. And I go for a swim in the ocean by these condos. And then they've got kind of beach chairs out here. You can see it's a little bit blurry here. This is a kind of pretty cool photo because there's actually the airplane here. So this is the town kind of roughly here, somewhere right in between all of this. And then the boats go back and forward. It's only about maybe 5, maximum 10-minute trip back and forward. This actually is quite a fair. I actually walk this. It's about 20-minute walk down to here. I never tell anybody I come down here because I want it to be empty. I go to these condos right here, and I go for a swim in their pool, and I go for a swim in the water right here. This is actually another place with the swimming pool. These are basically people that are basically living in these condos. Some of them are timeshare, some of them are privately owned. This is actually a different beach further down, which I just basically went to see. You can see in the distance, this is part of 7 Mile Beach, kind of one part of it anyway. And then the ship's off in the distance over there. Yeah, very nice place. Where I could actually easily go there personally, even just for a holiday. I could fly if, circumstances were right. I could happily fly in there, stay there. This is actually 7 Mile Beach, kind of at the other end. You can see the ship's off further in the distance. It's a bit of a rainy day. This is not the same day. I don't think these photos were taken. This is a bit of a closer up photo there of seeing how far away the tendering is. It's literally, depending on how many ships are in that day, it's probably no more than a 10-minute ride, maybe 5 minutes even for some ships. Yeah, this is basically where I go for a swim here. Just walk out on this concrete path. There's some ladder here. Looks like a swimming pool ladder. Just go for a swim right here. It's beautiful. Yeah, actually, probably the photos don't make it look as beautiful as it really is. 7 Mile Beach is basically just a beach, you know what I mean? And a lot of locals don't go to the beach that live on the island. It's not very normal. That's very common in all the Caribbean. Locals don't go to the beach. It's probably underused, I guess you could say. Yeah, the town is a bit hard to see here. It's sort of, I guess, somewhere over here. It's sort of just tucked away where the trees are right here. The boats just go back and forward. They run around the clock, so it's very easy to get to and from the ship. Yeah, both the Norwegian Getaway and the Anthem of the Seas are back to back, getting ready to get to the Verrazano Bridge. Yeah, I saw that on that other shot of the ships leaving. I think I've not got it pulled up now. So that's the Horizon doing its turnaround. Yeah, I saw the two ships there kind of. Yeah, there's quite a shot. It's quite a narrow channel that they've got to get under that bridge. They've really got to time it with the high and low tide of the afternoon to go under the bridge. And there's very specific timing they've got to reach that bridge by to go under it to not miss it, if that makes sense. That makes kind of sense. Let's keep reading this a little bit more. Drawing on previous experience from the reintroduction of tourist air arrivals, the program board and various local government entities are reviewing regulations to ensure that appropriate mechanisms are in place to protect the public. These are intended to take into account the unique characteristics of the cruise industry and the fact that cruise passengers are only in the jurisdiction for 6 to 8 hours on average and do not overnight. So they're kind of saying that people are on the island for a short period of time, not overnight stays or multiple day stays. So during phase one, in addition to the rigorous safety protocols implemented by cruise lines, which includes the requirement for passenger and crew to be fully vaccinated, Cayman's government has identified which cruise calls will be permitted to increase the layers of public protection. Now, this is a little bit weird to kind of read this, but the one thing that this Florida Caribbean Cruise Association has pointed out is that they kind of want a bit of give and take from Cayman, in that they want better shore excursions, maybe more tailored shore excursions for people coming there, and want better things for people to do, not just get off and buy a t-shirt and a keychain and get back on the ship, so to speak. So they were also saying there that part of the protocols, no COVID positive passengers, crew, or their close contacts will be permitted to disembark the ship, whether they are symptomatic or not. So that's kind of quite specific there. So if crew or guests have COVID and the ship comes to Cayman, they won't let them off or let them seek any kind of medical care. Kind of a little bit not right, but I guess that's what they want to do. That the government is giving as much advance notice as possible to intent to restart the cruise tourism. This is to allow cruise operators, business employees lead time to prepare. After 2 years of uncertainty, this is finally light on the horizon. And for businesses to start staffing up and making the necessary preparations to give cruise passengers a great experience when they arrive. So yeah, they're basically going to allow cruise ships to return. Following Cabinet's anticipated approval, a press conference will be held in the coming weeks to provide the public with further information about it. Now, on another website, you can read a very similar. This is actually the press release, I guess. But there's another one that sort of is mostly kind of newspaper style. And that one has a lot of feedback from people, especially people that live on the island or don't. And it talks about, the negative impact on cruise passengers coming to the island, and that there should be referendums held to ban cruise ships entirely. And then also, it's not fair that passengers arriving by aeroplanes to the island have more requirements to get off the plane and arrive to Grand Cayman. So you kind of have to register that you're staying. You got to have the negative test and things like that. So the one thing that they're sort of stressing for the cruise ships is that the passengers arriving should be on its first port of call. so that their negative test that they boarded the ship with is its closest to being still active, if that makes sense. So rather than, say, for instance, like on a 7-day cruise, if you've got a sea day from Miami, then Cayman is your first stop. Then, you're boarded with the negative test, and then you've only got that sort of 2-day, maybe 3-day window of when you had the test before you boarded. Does that make sense? And then if you were, for instance, on a cruise where you did Cayman as the third stop, say a Sunday departure, then you've got Monday sea day, let's call it Cozumel, Jamaica, Cayman. So you're looking at Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, for instance, it came on a Thursday, then you'd probably even be as much as 6 or 7 days prior was when you had your negative COVID test. And there's quite a few people who have messaged on other websites saying that it's not fair that someone flying onto the island has a different rule to what cruise tourism would have. And possibly the government's giving in too much to the cruise industry in what is being put forward to allow cruise ships to return. Cayman is one of the last islands in the Caribbean to open or reopen to cruise ships. Yeah, I've never seen 2 ships that close getting ready to go under the bridge. Oh, let's pull up that. Where are we? Cruise mapper, I guess. It's not that too far behind the live. Yeah, I guess the getaways there already gone under. 17 knots, so they're at speed now, so they're definitely under and gone. And then let's just refresh. I guess we'll kind of be able to pull up Anthem right there. Yeah, they're at 12 knots, so they're going to Port Canaveral also. So they're kind of following each other pretty much. Yeah, I guess with those itineraries from New York there, you end up at Port Canaveral, so you can do the Orlando excursions and go to Disney or to Universal and different things. Yeah, it's kind of pretty neat. It's a long day though when you do that itinerary because it's it's pretty much about an hour's drive from Port Canaveral to get to the theme parks. So you've kind of got a long, exhausting day to kind of deal with. 5 likes, by the way, on the live stream. I'm not too sure how many people we've got live now. I think it's only a few of us here, but 5 likes is definitely good. If we got more likes than people, that's always positive, right? Well, I think so. So that's pretty much great news for people who have future cruises with Cayman as an itinerary. So 21st of March, still 3 weeks, well, just right on 3 weeks away. I was just sort of thinking there, tomorrow, Monday, will be the last day of the month for February, because it's 28 days in February, right? So, I hope. I wonder how much money Grand Cayman is losing with no cruise passengers. Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of port fees, I guess the government would lose money from the port fees. The tender boats are basically a private company, and they charge the cruise line per head. The boats that run people back and forward to shore use a private company for that, whether they pay money to the Cayman government. So they'd have a per person fee that the Cayman government would take. And it wouldn't be lots of money, in terms of, it wouldn't be millions and millions that the government would lose. I guess the overall industry itself, so in a wider scope, I guess all tour operators, taxi drivers, minibus drivers, pretty much all the shops there in the port area would be obviously pretty much closed and done. You'd have to think, be quite a few $1 million per day, in terms of the total income from people spending money getting off the ships. And then the tour shore excursion costs per person to go on tours. You'd have to be a few million a day, I would imagine, maybe more, maybe let's even say 5 million. Let's round it off to 5 million a day. Probably the government isn't losing that kind of money, but in terms of, all the employees that would be working and employed or not employed now. I mean, imagine that. Just okay, sorry, there's no shop going to open for the next 2 years. If you had a kind of some sort of a tourist shop or especially some sort of business by the port area. I mean, where I got off quite often in Cayman, I'd walk down to that beach that you saw in the photo, and then I'd go to the actual KFC down there or the Burger King. Then I'd go to the local supermarket. So those kind of places that I go to wouldn't be affected at all from nobody coming. That makes sense. So if I didn't get off the ship, there wouldn't be any difference in their revenue, really, especially for the supermarket and the KFC, because they're basically where locals only go to. So I guess it's less people. What do you reckon? Do you reckon it's about 5 million a person? I wonder if we can't quite see the horizon spinning around there. It's a bit of a shame because the camera kind of zooms so far back. We kind of see it, but not as good as we'd like. What was I going to pull up? I was going to pull up Facebook again. Yeah, pretty much every news on my news and on my Twitter and everywhere is about what's going on in, I guess, Russia and Ukraine. So I'm getting a bit tired now of seeing so much of it, and it just bothers me now. I mean, I would tell you even, I told my mum that today, that it's probably 99% of locals here in Russia don't want things to be happening. You know what I mean? If anybody comes in from the other, I'll just post this into the other group over here. You know, I mean, people don't want this to happen. This actual photo from the live stream is actually the port in St. Petersburg. It's actually a kind of crazy photo with the amount of ships in port that day. I don't know how they possibly handle that many, but I guess they use a lot of buses and coaches, so it's not as big a deal. It's kind of interesting here. This is just the first comment on a Carnival Valor post. Do you have to have a booster to get on the ship if you're eligible for it? So there's actually 18 replies here to this. I wonder what everyone's put. Not required, but recommended. Not as of now. And some people have actually posted the specific rules here. So the one thing that's important with the booster is that if you're vaccinated and don't have the booster, your testing has to be within 48 hours or 2 days. If you're vaccinated and have a booster, you can test 3 days before the cruise. But then they basically Carnival saying it's recommended. What is it? Not required, but recommended, as someone actually has pointed out. So yeah, this is kind of very good news, I guess. Just going back to Cayman for a minute and the allowing the ship. So any future cruises, I guess they'll pretty much make another announcement this week. Another announcement. I guess they just want to keep the press kind of rolling. So I guess at some point midweek, we might get a more definitive kind of answer on what the rules may have to be. I mean, the one thing that I'm pretty sure they won't enforce is you having to have a negative test to get off in the port, because that was pretty much the thing holding the ships back, even for San Juan, Puerto Rico, where they require you to have a negative test to get off the ship. So it's really too difficult to test that amount of people prior to getting off on a morning stop, where the ship's sort of pulled in for the day. I mean, it's just not 2,000 or 3,000 people in line to do testing, and then you've got to wait for the results. Obviously, with these RAT tests, rapid antigen tests, they're faster, but it just wouldn't be practical. Scott says, do you believe the conflict in Ukraine will have an effect on cruising? Yeah, I mean, obviously we talked about it at the kind of top of the show, and then obviously part of the title of this chat was talking about I mean, the couple of different ways to look at it. So it's obviously all cruise lines are pretty much pulled out of going to St. Petersburg. So that's the first effect. So any port stops in Russia are pretty much finished. I guess in the coming season, I guess going forward, who knows what's going to happen and what things will change and change back again and back again. So I think that's obviously an instant effect. Obviously, with the European Union and a lot of other countries now restricting Russian airlines into European airspace, this could be an effect, because if Russia then was to put a restriction on their airspace, and airlines being able to fly, I guess, through Russia and then through Europe, it could have a flow-on effect for people traveling to countries by airlines. I mean, ultimately, in the last week prior to, I guess, 3 days ago, so many people didn't think this was going to happen. You know what I mean? Oh, they wasn't going to happen. They're not going to do what they're going to do, not doing what they're doing now. You know what I mean? You've got to remember that prior to this, 150, 200,000 troops were amassed at the border. You know what I mean? It wasn't not going to happen, I guess, from that kind of point of view. But, you know what I mean? I guess land-based holidays may be affected, I guess, where people may be wanting to go to places like Poland or Belarus. That's kind of a problem. The effect on cruising, I guess, is just really the all of the itineraries that we're going to do Baltic cruising or Baltic capitals is pretty much going to have to change. No question about that. So, I mean, it's kind of interesting, the day or two prior to today, I guess, every business or company or country has announced some sort of I guess if you want to call it a sanction against Russia. And it's kind of like who can put out the press release the quickest, who can put out a tweet the quickest, you know what I mean? And then, like, Carnival Corporation's initial tweet, I think it's still the same, is that, in light of the situation, we're assessing what we're going to do. I mean, they're very general with how they explain it. And I guess it's obvious then that they were going to change it. You know what I mean? And then there's obviously people that reply to that in a bit of a backlash, like, why have you not cancelled? Why have you not, companies are making massive decisions. I mean, their contracts with the ports of call, the contracts with the tour operators, aren't something they can just cancel in some circumstances, right? So, obviously, it's kind of like when there's a hurricane and you've got insurance, the act of God, if you want to call it that, on, for insurance claims. So acts of, I guess you can call terrorism without saying that word, and acts of war affect, things automatically by default, so they can then put another rule in. I mean, for me personally, I guess my problem, the other issue too, is the banking kind of sector and the transferring of money, because a lot of the sanctions that are coming in for Russia is this SWIFT banking, which is basically how banks transfer money, or companies do, monetary transfers around the world. And effectively 3 days ago, magically my ATM and Visa card here wasn't working. It's now sort of worked in the last 2 days, but only in certain places. So I imagine, depending on what bank the shop or business I use is connected to, it's not allowing me to do transactions. So it worked at McDonald's, and then it didn't work at the metro station. So when I went to put credit on my transit card, my metro card, it wouldn't let me add money, which should be no problems ever. So yeah, I was kind of a bit stressed out for a few hours thinking about going forward if it was going to affect, what might happen. So, yeah, which of all this sucks? Always wanted to go to St. Petersburg and Moscow. Hopefully some type of peace comes of this. Yes. I think everybody in the world is kind of wanting peace. I think there's very few people who want what's happening. You know what I mean? Especially even from a Russian point of view. If you talk to the average person here on the street, or just even, anyone that I know here and friends, and I guess my wife and her family and things like that, I mean, don't want any of this to kind of continue on. It's just not good for anybody, because it puts a kind of bad reflection on the entire country. You imagine someone that lives over on the east coast of Russia, on the border with China and stuff like that. I mean, they're, 10 hours by plane away from anything, and it's kind of on them, that something's happening, right? I mean, if I look at it from an Australian point of view, I mean, Australia is connected with the allies, with the US, with Europe and things like that. So we have to kind of follow suit with whatever the UK does, whatever America does in terms of the, like all of these sanctions. You know what I mean? So where the Australian Prime Minister's put like sanctions on the banking industry, it affects my bank here. So whether that's sort of a reason I've had problems with my bank in the last couple of days, I'm not sure. Thank you, Scott. Stay safe and love your chats. Yeah, no worries at all. Yeah, I guess it's all my views and my opinions on things, and then how you interpret things that I say. That's up to you. I mean, I'd love more people in the chats. I mean, I would really love to have bigger viewership. I guess I need to have like really breaking news to have, hundreds of people. Maybe I should do the live stream from like Red Square or somewhere. I wonder. I watch a couple of different streamers. One guy she didn't do a live stream this morning. He did a recorded one from in the center of Kiev. And he's actually an American guy from San Francisco. He's from San Francisco, isn't he from? I think. San Francisco. And, he basically has chosen to stay, I guess. And then everything going on, you know what I mean? And he gets a lot of flack in the comments when he does his live streams about, you should have left, you should leave, you've got to get out of there, da 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 da. And then I guess everyone's got that choice. I mean, I talked to my mum today about this, this fight or flight. Have you heard of fight or flight? Where you make that decision there and then what to do or not to do. It's kind of like if I go back to the Carnival Triumph when it had the fire, I was on board. Actually, it was over February. I don't know how many years ago, 6 or 8 years ago now. And, the worst thing that ultimately can happen to a ship is a fire on board. I guess you could sort of say sinking or grounding, like with Concordia. But, the worst thing that can happen to a ship is a fire on board. I mean, if there's an emergency and we have to go to the lifeboats, we know what to do. We're trained. You know what I mean? I guess under fire circumstances we are as well. I mean, I'm not a firefighter on the ship, but I know what my emergency duties are. But you can't really run away from a fire on a ship, right? So, like when things happened with the Triumph, obviously at that point we knew what was wrong, and that there was no fire; it was extinguished at that point. You know what I mean? It's turning around to decide what to do and how to best help the passengers, and what could I do that could help the other crew members on the ship? You know what I mean? And it's like 9/11, I guess, where people, like all the firefighters and the police basically ran into the buildings in New York, and then there's people that run away, obviously, right? So that's fight or flight, I kind of call that. And I guess for a lot of people that live in Ukraine, they just didn't think things were going to happen, right? And oh, no worries. People going about their day. If you look at 3 or 4 days ago, there was no difference with anybody, right? And then now, a few days later, the amount of people crossing the border into Poland. Actually, it probably definitely wasn't on any news around the world, but there was some people that were evacuated from Donetsk, the Donbass region, over to Russia, and the train brought them to my local train station. And basically about 1,000, basically women and children, were brought here, and then they've been taken to sanatoriums or kind of summer camps, I guess you would call them. I'll just scroll here because this photo of this guy, he's kind of right on the screen. So I guess that's a photo of Grand Cayman there. It's probably a little bit less obvious. Sorry. Um, yeah, so they brought 1,000 women and children. Then they basically got off the train here. They had, what do you call them? Volunteers, like million volunteers that basically helped them onto buses. They took them to local. They call them sanatoriums or summer camps. That they basically, obviously now is just the end of winter now, so they've reopened them, given them food, water, everything they need, bedding, clothing. People stepped off with basically luggage and things like that, and some even had cats and dogs and stuff. Um, yeah, yes, yeah. Sorry, I've just got two things that I'm reading at the same time. So yeah, that wasn't in the news at all. Yeah, Daryl, will I get a super sticker? It sent. I will get a super sticker. Yes. So that previous video that you sent, I think you sent one for the Wonder of the Seas one, I believe. That did come through, even though the video was taken down. That live stream of the Wonder of the Seas arriving into Fort Lauderdale, the super sticker came through a couple of days later. I was a bit worried that it wasn't actually, and yeah, it kind of gave a boost to the figures, I guess, to my month-end figures. So yeah, they do work. Yeah, basically Google, if you just want to be true and honest about how it works, Google where you get revenue from ads on your YouTube channel. They pay to your bank account on the 21st of the month. So that actually goes to my Australian bank account. Then I use my card over here to withdraw the money. And that's basically what I'm spending while I'm here because I don't have a job here physically. So YouTube is what I'm doing as a job. I guess unofficially or officially, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, just going back to that story about the train station here, it wasn't really publicized at all that this is basically before. This was quite a few days before everything kind of went off the boil, I guess. And the one thing that I find very difficult to basically explain, even I was trying to explain to my wife, is everybody's magically called a refugee, right? So where someone's got their luggage and they've left their house and they either have crossed over to Russia here or crossing over to Poland or to Belarus. I guess most people are going into Poland. They're instantly called refugees. I mean, there was a video that I watched yesterday or today now where there was like a Mercedes going down the road, I mean, crossing over to the Polish border. And, you know what I mean? These aren't people that are hard up. They're not basically have no jobs, have no house, have no money, have no food. They're just people that are genuinely kind of leaving the country because of problems going on. And it's just interesting. You see people like pulling like their suitcase with their Louis Vuitton handbag on their shoulder, and walking, towards the border and, getting buses or trains to cross over the border into Poland. And it's, why are they called refugees? I guess the minute they're displaced, that kind of term comes up. Excuse me, I'm just going to itch my eye a little bit. I just find that very hard to kind of comprehend personally, even from being over here. The one thing that kind of really is the problem is that they're not allowing any men that are aged between 18 and 60 to leave the country. So where a lot of people have sort of driven to the border, pretty much all the men know in Ukraine that they can't leave, and they've had to basically kiss and hug their relatives or family or husbands, wives, girlfriends, whatever it is. And that's the end of that, you know what I mean? And it's just horrible to see that part, that the government's not letting men or husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends leave the country because they just can't. They've got to stay and potentially basically enlist or, fight, I guess you want to call it. So I guess here I am not wanting to talk about everything and I'm kind of bringing it up again. So, yeah, so we've kind of talked about that cruise ships will be returning to Grand Cayman. So that's good news. So 21st of much. I guess we kind of talked about there. There's the live shot of Miami Harbor and the few ships that are in port. Yeah, thank you very much, Daryl. That goes a massive way to basically the monthly kind of figures, I guess, and how it kind of works out. I mean, I guess pretty much in terms of like earning money from YouTube, I mean, the best way to kind of support the channel is to watch videos. I don't probably make enough. I've not made enough deal of it. I mean, the one thing that you learn from, where people teach you how to make YouTube videos is don't ask, for, especially at the beginning of videos, don't ask for people to subscribe and like and subscribe and comment too much. Just do it at the end of a video, which is what I do. And don't overemphasize it. I mean, just watching the videos and being a subscriber to the channel kind of goes a lot more, goes a long way to the channel being successful. I guess we're closing in on 10,000 subscribers as well. So that's another amazing fact. So yeah, thank you, Daryl. So I guess I should start the camera fund. I guess now we've got the microphone in place. So I guess we'll start this as the camera fund. And then I guess I don't know, add it together over the course of a few weeks. Because the plan is to get basically a fixed camera here, kind of like all the really good YouTubers have, and the fancy lighting behind. I'm in my kitchen, so I guess you've got to put up with the, what do you call this, like egg yellow walls. That we rent this apartment, by the way. We originally owned an apartment in this building, and then we sold it for us to move to Australia. And then, crazy enough, we've ended up back in the same building, one level down. Our apartment was on level 11, and we're on level 10 here. I'm just pointing to the window, by the way. I can just turn the camera for you. I guess you can see the window, the balcony windows. Can't see too much else out the window. So, yeah, I guess if you're going to leave in style. Yeah, it's just very funny that just talking about it. I mean, these people that are kind of going on the highways and leaving, they kind of talk heavily about people leaving Kiev, which is obviously the main capital, but leaving from other regions and then heading to Poland towards that border. And, you know what I mean? Like, this is everybody's cars, on the highway. So you see all models. In Russia here, you see a lot of Mercedes, BMWs, kind of Porsche. There's a lot of Porsche as well on the road here, particularly Mercedes and BMWs. They're a very common car. So, I mean, I just seeing that Mercedes just kind of made me laugh a little, because I know how many you see on the road here generally. I mean, if I compare it to Australia, you'd see very few. I'd call it a luxury car that's on the road. And, people are crossing the border as a refugee in their Mercedes. I mean, I think quite a few of the countries are allowing like visa-free entry. So I guess it's kind of a good thing that they're making it easier and streamlined, and they're trying to do everything possible. I mean, they reckon even up to 5 million people will cross the borders over, I guess, out of Ukraine. So, which is just insane kind of numbers in your head. I mean, when I think about the 1,000 people that arrived here, and basically the lack of any, I guess it was a few days before everything happened. So the news was very much kind of not talked about how many people, that Russia accepted people from Ukraine into Russia. I mean, people think that everybody's leaving the other direction, which they aren't. Where they can allow people to come over, they did, right? So, yeah, very interesting. Yeah, Miami Harbor right there. Yeah, one thing also, I'll just bring up that cruise mapper for anyone that's kind of been following the Carnival Spirit coming over. I guess the two ships now are well out of New York. They can see Anthem and the Getaway. So they're kind of well clear now, and they'll probably follow each other, I imagine, down the... there's the Gem coming back to New York, I guess. They'll pass each other tomorrow. And then these are a couple of ships crossing there. The Coral Princess is coming over to Florida. But the Carnival Spirit is actually now in Freeport. And that's actually, its last stop was prior to this was actually, they stopped in Gibraltar in the UK, which is off the coast of Spain, I guess, Gibraltar. And then previous to that, they were over in Dubai and in the Middle East. And the Carnival Spirit was in Australia prior to 2 years ago. And they had that pause for near on 2 years, well, effectively 2 years next month now. So they're going to basically go over to Jacksonville and start cruising. I think it's the 4th or 5th of March. I can't remember off the top of my head now what exactly day it was. But actually, for Freeport, this is actually where you look at the harbor here, where the Sensation's docked. That's actually the normal passenger harbor right there. This little sort of circle and turnaround. And then over here, where is the Nordam and Spirit, is actually where the dry docks are. So imagine they're basically just at the passenger or the cargo piers over there in Freeport. I was trying to get a friend to go take some photos for me. He lives in Freeport, but he, let's pull up his, Davies. He lives in Freeport. He's lived there pretty much all his life. And he loves to go on bike riding excursions. This is Freeport, by the way. So anyone that thinks Freeport's an ugly kind of place, have a look at the color of this water. And have a look at these empty beaches. It's probably not the most amazing of his photos, but he likes to go and have a look at the color of that water there. That doesn't look real, does it? Where's the one he took of the post? He posts a lot of old photos of like Freeport back in the day, you know what I mean? Like the old photos. He's got one there of Nassau as well. I think he lived in the Bahamas or Nassau. Man, he actually put some photos of, is it this one? Where they had the cruise ships. Yeah, there's one of the Carnival ships just there off in the distance. And I'm kind of begging him to take me some photos. He likes to go beachcombing in Freeport. And he picks up all sorts of stuff. And he just finds it quite random how things have kind of washed up on the beaches there and things like that. See an oil rig off in the distance. These are probably not the greatest photos to show of Freeport, but yeah, that's the other one with the cruise ships right there. Yeah, there's a couple of different ships off the bay there in Freeport. So yeah, if anyone says that Freeport's an ugly looking place, it's not. That's my opinion anyway. So let's go back to see the Miami Harbor cam right there on YouTube. Let's leave that up for a second. Do you see any American cars on the road there? Not too many. I guess the Hummer is not American, is it? I'm not very much up on vehicles, honestly. I wish I was a car guy, but I'm not. In Australia, I was driving a little Hyundai Getz, which my wife hated every minute of me owning that, but I loved it, and it was beautiful for petrol and cost of running it. I guess you see a few Hummers, which actually I saw one when I was in Moscow. Okay, 2 days ago, not yesterday. What color was that Hummer? Because it was orange, like a bright orange Hummer, and there was a couple of guys that walked right past me as I walked past it, and they kind of stared at it when I stared at it. And it just looked so ugly, like barbaric Russian, guy with a lot of money that just buys, fancy car and does every tricked out thing to the car he could see out of the Hummer. You see sometimes like Toyota Land Cruisers. You don't see a lot of pickup trucks and like I would call them kind of like when you go to Galveston, Texas, every other person's got a truck, like you call them in America. You see very few. Well, I would say you'd see very few or none of them. You see occasionally like an F 150 or 250, but they kind of very rare when you see one, and it's obviously some guy that just wants that big American truck, and he's, I don't know, found someone that imports them. I guess it's a bit of a status symbol to have one. I mean, really here you'd see far more Mercedes, BMW, and Porsche on the road. If you go into Moscow center itself, especially in that real city center area and outside some of the government buildings, the amount of Mercedes you see parked up and BMWs, and the Mercedes Maybach, like the luxury Mercedes. It's just insane, how much money is on vehicles that you see in Russia. And obviously you see all the old Ladas as well. I mean, there's Ladas here in the town where I am. There's a big mix of cars here. It's not just Russian cars. There's, a lot of Toyotas and Fords and, Japanese cars. Actually, right downstairs when I came back from the shop today, there was like this little tiny Mitsubishi, like miniature little Mitsubishi. It was so tiny looking, like one of those smart cars almost, but a Mitsubishi version. And I'm just not sure how they drive that here in winter. I mean, that just must be difficult to drive, especially once the snow. Now the snow is melted a lot here, but I mean, the roads just get almost treacherous. I rented a car a little bit here and there to go around where we live, and just the the understeer and oversteer, even in just my local town here. I didn't really enjoy driving in the snow personally. So yeah, the view here of Miami, I'll just pull across here and have a look at the ships, which ones are heading out. That's Horizon, that's gone out ahead there. I just said we'll just update this. So yeah, I guess long answer. I like to do long answers, don't I, everybody? Sorry, if you've got a nice question for me, I can give you a very detailed answer. I guess that's, if you've watched any of the other videos in the channel, particularly the port of call walkarounds, that's really the whole essence of my channel. So if you are new to watching this or watching other videos, it's definitely a big part of the channel that I do, where I like to give as much detail as possible, detailed information, and point out everything that I see, that I know in when you do a bit of a walk around. Yeah, Seaborn, MSC Divina, that's the one that's pulling out right there. And then Seaborn Ovation, and then Encore's already pulling out ahead there. They've just pulled off and gone. Yeah, this turning around here in the basin is kind of a decision in the morning when the ships arrive. Maturely Glam says next time, this time next week, I'll be waving to you from Harmony of the Seas. Oh, nice. So is Harmony in Miami on Sunday, or is that? I guess it is. Is that Saturday, maybe? Harmony. I'm not sure. I don't know. I guess. Yeah, I'll pretty much stick to these Saturday and Sunday. I kind of mixed it up the other night on Friday. I did the live stream on Friday this time, or a little bit earlier, I think. No, it was about this time. And I kind of mixed up thinking that was Saturday. So my wife went to a concert on that Friday night. No, Saturday night. Last night. My God. And the plan, well, we had a bit of a plan that we were going to stay at a hotel nearby the concert stadium where she went to see this rock band. And then we went to go book somewhere. Pretty much, it's very amazing. Like magically, probably 20 or 30 hotels in that region were all sold out. So I imagine everybody stayed close by after the concert. And my wife was like, oh, it's just as cheap to get the taxi home than stay somewhere for the night. So she did that. She went on the train there and got the taxi home. So that's why I did the Friday live stream instead of Saturday, because I knew I wouldn't be able to do live Saturday night. And then it ends up I was kind of home, if that makes sense. Oh, so Port Canaveral. Yeah, I guess there you go, Port Canaveral. So yeah, let's just go back up the coast a little here. There's Fort Lauderdale. I guess Edge, Rotterdam, Eurodam, Caribbean Princess. That's going on an itinerary. Some of these are still not back in service, right? So some of them just pull out and then anchor off in the bay. Yeah, Emerald Princess is turning around. Alua's there. And then Port Canaveral's. Where are we? There we go. Oh, so Harmony's already left. Oh, there we go. Maraviglia and Ocean Voyager. I'm not sure what Ocean Voyager is, but so is that doing the same itinerary each week? Is it the Harmony? You can go here on this page. Then you can scroll down. So I guess next, where are we? So what did you say? This time next week. So I guess next Sunday will be the 6th. So arriving in Port Canaveral. Oh, there we go. Love Like You Mean It cruise. That's what they're calling it for the Harmony of the Seas. So yeah, Nassau, Falmouth, Jamaica, Labadee, Coco Cay, then back to Port Canaveral. So that's pretty cool itinerary. You got plenty of port stops there. 4 stops. Yeah, no sea day. Is that right? Am I kind of correct with that? Or am I miscounting a day there? So 6 to 7. Oh, so between Nassau and Jamaica, there's a sea day. Yeah, right. There'd have to be the distance. Yeah, 1 till 2 there. Yeah, so, and Labadee's obviously back open, which is their private island. Harmony leaves every Sunday between 4 and 5. Yeah, right. That hotel by the port with a live camera is the Continental. I stare a lot when I'm going on a cruise. Oh, that's, I guess, in Port Canaveral. Yeah, I guess, is that the PTZ webcam again? That I don't want to pull up. Yeah, it's very strange how I had that as a the webcam that I was showing on the stream like I do. And then they put in a complaint to YouTube about me, I guess, broadcasting the likeness of their channel, I guess, or their page. So yeah, you got the sea day between Nassau and Jamaica. So that's kind of cool. So you got time there to kind of chill and relax. And then this Coco Cay, I've never been there. I haven't worked on Royal Caribbean, so their private island looks very, very cool. I mean, it's nice chill day as well. I guess Labadee, right? If you're not doing any, I guess, land excursions. Where the ships dock in Falmouth, Carnival's dock there as well from time to time. You know, once you come out of the cruise port, there's not a whole lot to do there. When you walk out the gates, there's a small town there. The actual port area is very, very nice. It's a gated kind of private precinct that's pretty much only for cruise ships. So if you were to go on an excursion and just get off there and go for a drink at a bar or something to eat, the town area, which is kind of walking distance, there's virtually nothing there, just a Jamaican town on the other side of the island. The only thing with Falmouth, just as an example, though, is it's quite a distance to get over to like Dun River Falls. So that's why obviously all the ships go to Ocho Rios because of Dun River Falls. So most of the excursions from Falmouth are quite a distance back and forward from there. But the actual port is very, very nice. I mean, I definitely agree with that port being really nice. Nassau, I guess you can do maybe a beach excursion that day, or some people saying some things are not all fully open there, I guess. They're kind of slowly getting back up to speed with ships coming every day there. Is there anything to do there for disabled passengers? I mean, I guess you can get off and definitely, you know, in the cruise terminal. Let's pull up. Let's see if Google's got any photos of it, because Falmouth, Jamaica. I guess maybe these photos probably won't do it justice. That's England. That's Falmouth in England. Guess we're gonna have to do Jamaica. We'll look at some of these photos. Yeah, that's the cruise terminal where the ships dock. Right there. There's basically two piers, and then that kind of enclosed, and the town is just over here off in the distance. So you can definitely get off in the port area if you've got like a wheelchair, or maybe one of those I guess frames, whatever you call those things. You can see here South berth. This is kind of pretty cool. Whoever's done this one. Commercial area, terminal building, north berth. Yeah, the town's kind of in the back area. It's not that far. I mean, it's a little bit of a walk, I guess, if, like you say, for disabled or. I just found when I went there wasn't a whole lot. That's kind of a bit of a distant photo, but that's kind of pretty neat. Let's see what that one looks like. Not very clear photos, but the port areas, I think it's actually quite nice there. I mean, if I compare docking in Ocho Rios to docking over here, I think this is a nicer port area to get off the ship at. And actually, even compared to what's the other port on the other side? I think in Kingston. What's the other place in Jamaica? Whatever the other port is in Jamaica. Anyway, there's virtually nothing there where the ships dock. How's that photo? Can we zoom in on these a little bit? Guess we can. No, we can't. Guess we can't center it. There we can. Oops. Oh, that's gone terribly wrong. Yeah, I guess you can just put Google and then just put Falmouth, Jamaica there. I guess that's a shot of the town area, is it? Falmouth, Jamaica cruise. Oh, that's the cruise port. No, it's not. That's the town area. Yeah, it's very much where locals live and go to do their little day-to-day shopping. I just didn't find it too interesting. I guess there's kind of like little street vendors. Some people didn't say they didn't feel safe there, but Falmouth was pretty much, the terminal was built, for the bigger cruise ships to dock there, especially for two ships to dock. Whereas, Ocho Rios, one ship can only dock there at a time. And they built this whole custom port area. So, and whoever was in that town got a little bit lucky that ships come there, right? Yeah, my husband can't walk far. He shattered both heels falling off a roof 2 years ago. He's still not completely healed. He travels with an electric scooter. Okay, yeah, I guess your scooter could get to town and back. The thing with Jamaica, you've got to embrace Jamaica for what it is, right? I mean, that man, no worries, man kind of culture. Some people love that, and then the next person finds that the Jamaicans are very pushy, and very aggressive, if that makes sense. These are all like very distant photos. Yeah, this is probably the coolest one. I mean, so definitely you can get off with the electric scooter. You can even stay in the terminal there. I mean, that could be one of your port days, to stay on the ship and not do an excursion if you weren't going to book one. That's probably definitely there's a map of Jamaica. Yeah, where are we there? So, no, it's not very good. Yeah, Montego Bay. That was the other. I guess that's the next nearest place from Falmouth. But where the tours take people over to Ocho Rios for Dun River Falls. I mean, that's definitely something that you wouldn't be able to do, the falls, which is pretty much like the most known excursion there. So, Miami cruise port. Yeah, Coco Cay is amazing. Yeah, I agree. I mean, of the photos I've seen of it, I completely agree with you. Yeah, I guess these are kind of some shots. Is that? Yeah, there you go. Historical buildings in Falmouth. I mean, it's definitely walkable, but there's obviously these lips everywhere. Most of the Caribbean always has issues with heavy rainfall, so a lot of the streets have kind of got the lips there to help with rainfall, and they've got the step ups to the buildings. This is probably a little bit. Oh, that's the cruise terminal, I think, isn't it? Yeah, that's the cruise terminal right there. This is the town, isn't it? No, that's the cruise terminal as well. Yeah, that's the overhead of it. It looks a little bit nicer when you're there than from a distance. It looks like a very commercial kind of place, right? Because they use that pier there for commercial shipping as well as cruise ships. They'd be miserable about doing the falls, right? Yeah, but it's actually not an easy excursion to do. You've got to have the water shoes or aqua shoes, and it's not. I mean, for the average person, I mean, it's not an easy tour. You're walking up a waterfall backwards, and got that completely wrong, but yeah, they kind of have you going hand in hand here, and then kind of, you've really got to be careful with that walking, and I mean, the next person, if they kind of slip or fall or anything like that. These aren't very good photos. No, you can see here. I mean, people are really overthinking it, having to climb up there. You're not really enjoying it because it's just crowded with people. I mean, it's pretty amazing that, there's a waterfall that runs into the ocean. That's a pretty neat photo of it right there. But it's just not a simple tour to do, to be very honest. This is the bit where it comes into the beach right here. It's pretty cool how there's a waterfall going into an ocean, though. That's the hardest thing to kind of think about in your head, So, yeah. Hope everyone's liked the chat, by the way. I think we're kind of maybe at the time where we've come to not so many people talking. Glam, of course, you're here. Daryl, you're here. I'm not sure who the other people are. Thanks again for the super sticker. There's super chats and super stickers. I always get them mixed up. So yeah, thanks. 6 likes, by the way, which is good. Of course, we'd like more people into these live chats. I'm trying to do it regularly so that we kind of build up a bit of an audience of people, and definitely Saturdays or Sundays. I guess next weekend, Glam, you'll be on your cruise, so I guess we won't have you. How's your YouTube channel, by the way, Glam? On Maturely. T U R E L Y. Oh, I've got to press that one to get to that one. How's your YouTube? 1 month ago, you haven't posted. Are you going to do more videos? Did we talk about this before, about you making more videos? You've had 500,000 views on your channel, by the way. Did you know that? If you go over here, joined in May 2012. Oh, you'll be in the live next Sunday to say hi. Yeah, it'll be about the same time, barring anything crazy going on, or if my wife's got some plans. I tend to work a lot around her schedule. She's actually a manicurist. She works in her own salon in the same apartment building downstairs from where we live. Actually, you probably can't tell, but I went and got my hair cut today. There's a hairdresser, a beautician, and then there's my wife's nail salon. So she does nails from in the same building where we live. She used to do it in Moscow Center, but it's just too far to go back and forward to work every day. And I completely agree. Wow. 500,000 views. Yeah, I've had a lot going on with my health and my husband, so I've taken a couple of months off. Yeah, I mean, that's completely understandable. I mean, YouTube can consume you. It really can. It can just take you in and suck you in, and then there's times where you just don't want to even switch on the computer. And I'm facing that a little bit here and there as well, with trying to make cruise content from an apartment in Russia, right? mean, I'd probably get more views now if I pointed my phone out the window, pointing out at the town, or or go to do a live stream in Moscow Center, than I would talking about cruise ships, which is horrible to think, you know. Yeah, there was when they had the rioting, they had the protesting in Moscow 3 nights ago, and there was like 16,000 people watching the live stream, which was just crazy to think. You know, and the guy just pointed the camera at a police bus. Most popular. Oh, John. Oh, right. We talked about this, right? The SEO titling. So yeah, John Kukian eyeshadow. 113,000 views. Holy smoke. You're scorching my by a long way. Mine, most viewed one is 43,000. And then a few of the port ones, like the Paradise Beach videos, got like 39,000 or something or other. Yeah, I guess the key to these videos right here, if you really, I'm sure you know this as much as I do. Yeah, very slippery rocks at Dun River Falls. Yeah, right. Definitely agree with that. Yeah, you need to. I think they won't even let you do the tour without the aqua shoe. So whether you bring your own or they sell them to you or rent them to you, yeah, it's pretty much a must. Yeah, Miami Cruise Port is where the Continental Hotel is, and there's also where the live cam is. I guess that's what you're talking about, like this. Okay, we don't have it pulled up now. The webcam before is on the roof of the building. Yeah, I've been on here for a while. Yeah, so yeah, the key to these videos. I mean, I watch. I think it's Tuesday nights. I think it is not Monday nights. Tuesday nights. vidIQ. There's a channel that does channel audits, and they talk about, you know, what's right or wrong with your channel and how you can fix it and how you can. I mean, you're 7,000. You're going to pass me for subscribers. And you know what they always tend to do is pull up their most viewed videos, not necessarily the newest ones. Like if you go by newest, and then see how many views constantly you're getting. But then, like you say, where you go to the ones here that have got the most popular, the reason pretty much because of the title. There's John Kukin eyeshadow, John Kukin Mac, Jeffree Star, Box Charms, Laura Lee. So people type that into YouTube, and people will find your video from searches purely because of that. And that's why they'll just get, it's basically evergreen content. I'm sure you maybe know this, right? Evergreen content, which is basically something that will be viewed forever purely because of the title. So if I even go here to now Paradise Beach, Cozumel, I'm going to do this completely blindly. Now I'm not first anymore, I'm third. So Paradise Beach, Cozumel, I'm now third on the rankings here because someone did a video 2 weeks ago. And someone did one 5 months ago. So my video from 2 years ago now is now third. That's actually, this is the second one that I did, where I did it with my friend. And the other one, 32,000. This is actually the coolest one. Can you see this guy here? He's at the entrance. He actually talks about the price to go in and the entrance fee. So I guess this person here, they've had 32,000 views in 2 weeks. Oh my God. That's just, I'm not there. And he got 97,000 subscribers. So, but yeah, when I remember when I went the second time with my friend, we kind of just asked the guy, I said, oh, can we speak to the manager, you know? And then I said, oh, I make YouTube videos. You know, I asked if we don't mind if we make one while we're there. And I said, oh, just put into search Paradise Beach, Cozumel. And mine came up first. He's like, oh, okay. And he gave us actually free entry for the day. So we got basically the all-inclusive passes, like one each. My friend was just in shock. You know what I mean? Like, you know, because I get virtually, well, I've had nothing for free from the channel at all, apart from those 2 entry passes. And then there's a pizza place in Australia where I live, where he gives me free garlic bread because he's a subscriber to the channel, my cruise channel. And he every time I come there for pizza, perfect pizza in Koinana, by the way. Yeah, it's very interesting, just to be able to get on that first page of YouTube. It's called the first page of YouTube, right? And the more people scroll, the less likely that people may not look at your video. So, the key here with mine, I mean, I'm very boring with my titling and very obvious with it. But where they've put here is that the best in Cozumel, and they put a question like an arrow. Is Paradise Beach the best in Cozumel? 24 minutes, so you're about the same length. Mine's 20 minutes. Yeah, Para DJ, I guess he's pretty well known. 40,000. He's not got so many. 40,000 subscribers. He's got 30,000 more than me. So, yeah, their product names. Yeah, that's the whole thing, right? It's that evergreen title that will be searched for years. Whereas if you actually kind of look back at, especially the last, let's go to those newest ones, newest ones. Things like RNRM, I'm back. Did you miss me? September 4. These aren't searchable videos, so these will only tend to get viewed by your subscribers, if that makes sense. Whereas if you can put some sort of titling that's a word, Color Pop Barbie collection, so yeah, I'm gonna go cook dinner. If I don't make it back, I'll definitely be here next Sunday while on Harmony. Oh, then you're gonna make us jealous that you're gonna be on the ship while we're doing the live stream. Yes, next Sunday for sure, roughly the same time. So yeah, enjoy your dinner. I'm gonna have some snacks now, even though it's now 1:39 here. I'm a little bit hungry. I watched 3 movies today, by the way. We're kind of having a lazy Sunday here, and actually we did it in Australia a few times where we had like movie Sundays at home where we just sit on the sofa and watch movies. So we watched Marry Me, which was with Jennifer Lopez and is it Owen Wilson? Kind of like a romantic kind of movie that was kind of cool, I guess. Jennifer Lopez is beautiful. My wife even said she's beautiful, and I agreed with her. So, and then we watched, I don't even remember what we watched now, the names of them. Oh, I watched the Internship, actually with Owen Wilson again, the one where he's at Google, the old movie. Oh, you're actually in Orlando as well. Oh, that's very handy. I spent a week there quite a few years ago and did the theme parks. I would be back in a second. I'd actually come and stay at your house. Yeah, I stayed at the is it Point Orlando is the little shopping area there on International Drive. There's a hotel across the road from Point Orlando. I'm not sure of the name of it. It's kind of a bit of a biggish kind of older hotel. I stayed at the hotel right across from Point Orlando. Actually, I think 2 or 3 times that I've been to Orlando, I stayed there. Then I just take the trolley bus down to the parks. Or whatever public bus is the one that runs back to Disney in that direction, and then the ones that go down to Universal in the other direction. But yeah, I've got a friend. I don't know where she lives in Orlando. I'll have to look it up for next time. Yeah, she worked on cruise ships. She's actually English. She now lives in Orlando. Yeah, I'd love to sail through Japan ports by the cruise ships and explore. Yeah, actually, I think even those ones were going to. Were they going to one of the Russian ports on that eastern side of Russia, as well as Japan? I'm pretty sure there's 1 or 2 cruise ships that do that itinerary over there. I can't remember now. I know there's 1 or 2 ships that do that kind of Japan region. But I'm not too sure of the names of them. So, all right. I think we're going to be at right about sleepy time now, I think. I hope everyone's enjoyed the live stream today. We did a bit of news about Grand Cayman. We talked a little bit about the ships, I guess, pulling out of itineraries to the Baltic regions and up to Russia. Yeah, we talked a little bit about Falmouth, Jamaica. Let's close that. No, I'll go back to. We go back. More forwards. Oh my gosh. Yeah, guess we can get that final shot of Miami Harbor there. What ad have we got coming up? We've got a final ad here on. Oh, what's this one? I don't know. All these strange Russian ads on the YouTube that I get. So yeah, there's a nice shot there of Miami Harbor. That's the MSC ship sailing away. The Virgin ship leaves about 7 o'clock, doesn't it? Always leaves quite a bit later. And the other ships, yeah. Oasis at 6 p.m., 7 p.m. Seaborn Ovation, and 7 p.m. Scarlet Lady. And then Ecstasy is coming in at 8 p.m., which is the one that's sailing empty at the moment. Ecstasy and Sensation are the two Carnival ships that are empty. So, yeah, I hope, again, everyone's liked it. 7 likes. Thank you hugely for the likes on the channel on this live stream. I hope everyone's enjoyed it does go on a little bit. Of course, it's me chatting and feeding back to you guys who put comments. Really appreciate it. Daralia earlier, Enya, Maturely Glam. Who do we have there earlier as well? We had somebody else. I don't remember now. Richard Linka was here a little bit earlier on as well. So yeah, we guess that we're building up a small community of people that kind of watch every week. So yeah, thank you very much. I don't have the hundreds and hundreds of people like I really should have. I guess I need to do something about that somehow. Maybe bring on a guest, somebody famous or infamous. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed the live stream. I like cruise ships coming to you from my kitchen in Moscow, Russia. I'll keep saying, I feel like I'm a DJ, like spinning the tunes, coming to you from live. Thanks, Enya. Yeah, have a good night and much respect. And to you too, my friend. I hope everything's going safely where you are and you're having a good day. Tomorrow is Monday for us. Everyone's back to work. I'm going to film a video. I might do a Grand Cayman cruise news review of what we talked about in this video. Just go over some of the information that was put out on that press release. So we'll have another video at some point tomorrow morning for US, I guess evening for me and you in here in Europe. So yeah, thanks everybody for watching, and I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to have that awkward goodbye where I don't quite click the button properly. Again, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. We're getting close to 10,000 subscribers, and I definitely will have a live stream for the 10,000 subscriber celebration, I guess you'll call it. I don't know what we call it. Maybe we'll have maybe if it's close to like 10,000, like 9999, we might do live for the handover of the 10,000. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, thanks everybody. See you next week, unless I do any unexpected midweek live streams, which is probably not likely. But yeah.